And hello everybody, hello, hello. Checking to make sure that everything is running correctly. Test, test, 1, 2, test, test, 1, 2. Go ahead and hello everybody, hello, hello. Checking to make sure that everything is running correctly. Test, test, 1, 2, test, test, 1, 2. All right. So, as we begin this new week, the same time, same station, the title of the video says it all. This is Copywork and Note-Taking, a combination of the two. The note-taking is a study of the Smart Notes method or the Slipbox method based on the book by Sonke Ahrens, How to Take Smart Notes. The copywork is being done using Gregg Shorthand, Gregg Anniversary Shorthand, and so you will see a demonstration of the technologies for this particular stream. This video will be about 3 hours. This will be a 3-hour stream. It is currently July 27th, 2026 at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so now I begin. All of the links, all of the necessary links to the work, if you were interested in engaging in this process yourself, or would be interested in experimenting in digital copy work, and all of those materials can be found in the links below this video in the description. I do want to give a quick reason or argument for the necessity of copywork, and that is that as humans, we are a combination of intellectual or mental beings and physical beings, and both aspects of our reality need to be taken into consideration when we are engaging with the learning process. If you can engage more aspects of your cognitive ability and of your relationship with the world, then you have a greater chance of succeeding and of acquiring true knowledge. So one of the aspects of learning that is necessary to consider is the use of the hand as well as the eye, as well as the mouth, as well as the ear, trying to engage as many of your senses in the process as possible. If you write information down, it will stay with you longer than if you just read it. If you speak the information, it is more, it ties it to you more readily than if you were to just read it. And reading is even better than just hearing. So each of these different senses builds on the next one to create a more comprehensive and complete picture. And that is the reason why I am doing the copywork in addition to the actual study of the book itself. The reason why I am studying shorthand, Gregg Shorthand, is because although it is worthwhile to take the time to read the text or to copy the text, we still want to be as mindful of the process or the time outlay for learning. And if there are any technologies or modalities that enable you to achieve the same results with less time and also less fatigue, then by all means we pursue the pathway that is less fatiguing, where we still get the same results. With that being said, let me continue. So I have Zernal pulled up here. Zernal++ is the application I use. I have my website pulled up over here that enables me to do word lookups. It's essentially my dictionary. And let me continue. So I have to figure out where I was in the writing, and we had just done, this is bicycling. This is bicycling, okay? So I'm going to look for bicycling, and we became obvious that we would never learn to bicycle, that we would never have learned to bicycle. So let's see, started to learn bicycling, and now the next word here is properly. I am currently on page number 62 of Sonke Ahrens' book, How to Take Smart Notes, and this is part of it's chapter 3, or no, chapter 2, and this in particular is section 9, 9.4, become an expert instead of a planner. Become an expert instead of a planner. And so now I begin. We had started to learn if we had left the, we had started to learn bicycling properly. We might have felt a bit insecure in the first moment. Let me pull up the chat over here so it's on top. And now I continue. Here we go. We might have felt a bit insecure in the first moment. So here we go. We might have let's check felt, because feel is, there's felt, and that is correct. Let's make the tail just a little longer. We might have felt a bit insecure in the first moment. A bit. And then insecure. Insecure is going to be insecure. And let's check and see if that is correct. And that is correct. Might have felt a bit insecure in the first moment. In the first moment. But at the same time, it became obvious. But at the same time, it became obvious. It became obvious that we would never have learned to bicycle, that we would have never learned to bicycle if we had left the training wheels on. If we had left the training wheels on. The only thing we would have learned is to ride a bike with training wheels. The only thing we would have learned is to ride a bike with training wheels. The only thing we would have learned is how to ride a bike with training wheels. And that's the end of the paragraph. So now let's go ahead and read back through. And we need to look for the moment we stop making plans, which is right here. Beginning of a new paragraph. Here we go. Go ahead and grab the highlighter. The moment we stop making plans is the moment we start to learn. It is a matter of practice. It is a matter of practice to become good at generating insight and write good texts. But by choosing and moving flexibly between the most important and promising tasks, judged by nothing else than the circumstances of the given situation. It is similar to the moment where our training wheels were taken off and we started to learn bicycling properly. We might have felt a bit insecure in the first moment. But at the same time, let me fix time. But at the same time, it became obvious that we would have never learned to bicycle if we, let's fix had, if we had left the training wheels on. The only thing we would have learned is how to ride a bike with training wheels. Next paragraph. Similarly, let me take a stab at what I think it should be. I'm thinking it should be simile. So that one would be similarly. Let's see if this is correct. Similarly. Simile. That's similar. And then so similarly, dissimilarity, dissimilar. Similarly is simply going to add an E to the end. And that is correct. So that is similarly. No one would ever learn the art of productive academic writing. No one, so this is no one, would ever learn the art of productive Productive. It's a little bit too extreme. Let's try it again. Productive academic writing. Just by following plans or linear multi-step prescripts. Just by following plans or linear multi-step prescripts. Just by following. I believe follow is this. By following plans and multi-step scripts. Let's see if that's it. So, prescripts. So for that, we're going to look up script, because I doubt that there is a prescript. We'll check. That's prescription. Prescript. And that is correct. So it actually is. It's the first part of prescription. So there we go. That is the form. Beautiful, beautiful. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, so let's go ahead and straighten this up a little bit and clean it. Prescripts. Let me add that to the list. Prescript and also prescripts. Maybe just prescripts. The widespread praise, that was the end of a sentence. No, it's a, by following plans or linear multi-step prescripts. So I actually need to I need to add linear. Plans or linear multi-step prescripts. Linear multi multi-step prescripts. And then that's followed by a hyphen. The widespread, one would learn only to follow plans or prescripts. One would only learn how one would learn only. One would learn only. One would learn only how to let me see if how to is in the dictionary. How to. It's good. One would learn only how to follow plans or prescripts. How to follow plans or manuscripts. The widespread praise for planning rests on the misconception. The widespread widespread correct fix a little bit. The widespread praise for planning. Praise for planning rests on the misconception. Rests on the misconception. So let's put this up here. This is going to be misconception. And let me check if that is correct. Oh, if I could spell correctly. Misconception. And that is correct. The only thing is this is not a disjointed shape. Those two go together. So here we go. Misconception. That a process like writing an academic text, misconception that a process like writing an academic text, that a process like writing an academic text which is highly dependent on cognition, which is highly dependent is dependent. Let's see if that is dependent. Yes, we need to flip that up in order to then do the NT. Which is highly dependent on cognition. And cognition is going to be cognition. I'm going to assume that is cognition. Let me see. Even easier, it's just a KG in, so there's no need for the O hook. So we go, oh, that's recognition. So recognition, so cognition is just going to be cognition. That is cognition. Cognition. And we need to shorten that up so it's not a CH. There we go. There is cognition and thinking, which is highly dependent on cognition and thinking. Can rely on conscious decision-making alone, comma. Let's line this up over here. Let's see. Cognition and thinking can rely on conscious decision-making alone. Can rely, and rely is going to be rely on conscious decision-making alone. Decision is going to be decision. See if that is correct. Flip it back around. There we go. Decision, and that's hyphen, decision making alone. But academic writing is an art. But academic writing is an art as well. As well can be a phrase, which means it is something we can become better at, which means it is something we can become better at. With experience and deliberate practice. With experience and deliberate, this is going to be deliberate. Let me check experience first, make sure that is correct. Yes, good. Experience and, let me fix the and, getting a little sloppy there. Experience and then deliberate. There's deliberate. Deliberate does not require an A at the end. That would be for deliberately. So we'll go ahead and fix that. So this is deliberate practice. P-R-K. Okay. And that was the end of the paragraph. So now we'll go ahead and go back through, read from the beginning of the paragraph. Let's find the paragraph marker, which is there. And now we begin. So this one was similarly on one, similarly no one would ever learn the art of productive academic writing just by following. Let me make sure that is following. And that is follow, good. Just by following plans or linear multi-step PR prescripts. That's right, prescripts. One would learn only how to follow prescripts, plans or prescripts. The side proceed, what's that? The widespread. Yeah, we need to fix that Y. That looks a little bit too much like an S. So let me go ahead and fix that here. a little bit more of a U hook. The widespread praise for planning rests on the, let me see if that is rests. Rests requires, it's not a backwards, because that'd be resses. This needs, since there's the disjointed T or the hidden T, then we need to have a break in the S's as well. So we go rests. There we go. Rests on the misconception that process like writing an academic text, which is highly dependent on cognition and thinking, can rely on conscious. Yes, conscious, and I need to check conscious to make sure that it is C-I-O-U-S. Oh, con, S-C. I always get this mixed up. S-C-I-O-U-S. There we go. Conscious does require the sh, so let me go ahead and fix that. Requires conscious decision-making alone. But academic writing is an art as well, which means it is something we can become better at. Beta. I need to fix that. My E's and A's are starting to run together, so let's go ahead and fix that here. Better, okay? Better at, with experience and deliberate practice. Okay? Next paragraph. Experts rely on embodied experience. Experts rely on embodied experience. Expert is experts rely on, and then embodied. That's disembodied, so we need to go ahead and do embodied and then add it to the dictionary. So if that's disembodied, then this is embodied. Is just the first part minus the prefix. So this one would be embodied. Okay, let me add that to the dictionary. And that's underlined because it is an italicized word. Experts rely on embodied experience, and experience is SPE, which enables them to reach the state of virtuosity, which enables them to reach the state of virtuosity. Virtuosity, let me check and see if that is in the dictionary. And it is. Very nice. Virtuosity. So virtuosity is and then the disjointed S for city. So this is virtuosity. Virtuosity. Period. An expert in academic writing. An expert in academic writing has a feel for the process. Has a feel for the process. An acquired intuition. An acquired, so that would be acquired. That does not look correct. I know I did acquired. It requires the diphthong. Ah, okay. There we go. Acquired. Let's go ahead and fix that here. An acquired. An acquired intuition. Intuition. So we go intuition. No, tuition is a ui. So we go intuition. Like so. Let me go ahead and check and see if that is correct. Intuition. And the E is added to the ent first. So let me go ahead and put that there. Like so. An acquired intuition. For which task will bring one closer? For which task will bring one closer to the finished manuscript, to the finished manuscript. Okay, to the finished manuscript. And what is only a distraction? And what is only a distraction? There can be no universally applicable rule. There can be no universally. Universally is going to be universe, I believe. Let's try this. Universally. Let's see if universi, because universe is just universe, I think. Let's go ahead and try that. So it would be universally. It requires the U at the beginning, universally. universally and then accepted. Let's see. There's no universally accepted, no, applicable. Applicable is going to be applicable. Let's see if that's correct. It requires an E before the K, and that is it. So very nice. Here we go. There is applicable. There we go. Rule. About which step has to be taken when? About which step has to be taken when? Go ahead and confirm that this is being sent over. Yes, that is applicable. Very good, very good. Universally. Excellent. Just wanted to make sure that everything's running as it should be. So now let's go back over here to the null. Which step? About which step has to be taken when? About which step has to be taken? Has to be taken when? Period. Each new project is different. Each new project is different. Each new project is different. And at each stage of the project, and at each stage of the project, and at each stage of the project, it might be best to read up on something. So, comma, it might be best to read up on something. To review a passage. To review, let's check and make sure that is review. Correct. Make the U just a little bit of a sharper hook. To review a passage, and passage is going to be P-A-S-J, so we're going to go passage. Let me check and see if that is correct. To review a passage. Correct. To discuss an idea or to change the outline. To discuss an idea or change an outline. To discuss an idea or change an outline, or change the outline, to change the outline. The outline of the manuscript. There is no universal rule. Here we go. There is no universal rule that could tell one up front that could tell one up front. That would be up and then front, like so. Up, front. Up, front. Up, front. There we go. That could tell one up front at which stage it wouldn't make sense. So we have to start down here, at which, and then stage, at which stage it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense. Let's see. To follow up on an idea. To follow up on an idea. A possible contradiction or a footnote. So, comma. A possible contradiction. Possible might just be POS. Yes, so it doesn't require the B. Contradiction. Contradiction is going to be contra, which is above. Contra, and then diction. See if that is correct. And that is correct. Contradiction. Okay. Or a footnote. Like that. Footnote. And that was the end of the paragraph. So now we go back through and we read that. Here we go. Experts rely on embodied experience, which enables them to reach the state of virtuosity. An expert in academic writing. An expert in academic writing has a feel for the process, acquired intuition for which task will bring one closer. Closer. Let me check and see if that is closer. Requires the E. closer to the finished. Yes, finished. See if that is correct. That's unfinished. Finished does not have a value, but we won't worry about that. Finished manuscript. And what is only a distraction? The capable, let's see here. There can be no universally acceptable rule about which step has to be taken when. What is this? If each new project is different, and each new project is different, and each stage and at each. So this needs to be down a little bit. Here we go. And at each stage of the project, it might be best to read up on something, to go ahead and fix this here, to review a passage, to discuss an idea, or which to discuss an idea, or to discuss an idea, or to change, or to change the outline of the manuscript. There is no universal rule that could tell one up front, and up front needs up front is not in the dictionary, so let's go ahead and add it. To up front, at which stage it wouldn't make sense to follow up on an idea, an opposing, is that opposing? A possible contradiction, or a footnote. End of paragraph, beginning of new section. To become an expert, so to become an expert, we need the freedom to make our own decisions. We need the freedom. Let me check freedom. We flip the E on the outside of the curve, or on the outside of the curved marker. We need the freedom to make our own decisions, to make our own decisions. Let's see what decision is. Yes, and then the S is added to that. So let's go ahead and curve it just a little more, make the tail longer. Decisions. And all the necessary mistakes. And all the necessary. I believe that is necessary. Let's go ahead and check it. Correct. All the necessary mistakes. Go ahead and fix mistakes. There's mistakes. All the necessary mistakes that help us learn. That help us learn. Like bicycling, it can only be done by doing. Like bicycling, it can. Let's add a new line under this. This is page 3. How to take smart notes. How to take smart notes. 9. Currently we're on 9.4. 9.4. This is page number 3. Continuing. There can be no, so we were on, but like bicycling, it can only be done by doing. It can only be done by doing. Most study guides and academic writing teachers. Most study guides and academic writing teachers are trying very hard to spare you from that experience. Oh, that is a dig. Are trying to spare, are trying very hard, are trying very hard to spare you from that experience. To spare you from that experience. Are trying very hard to spare you from that experience by telling you that when by telling you what, when, and how to write instead. By telling you what, when, and how to write instead. What, when, and how to write instead. But they are keeping you from learning the very thing academia. But they are keeping you from learning the very thing, from learning the very thing academia, academia. Let's see if we can do this one here. So we go demia, demia, demia. Almost. It's a funny word. And writing is all about. Academia and writing is all about. Colon. Gaining insight and making it public. Gaining insight and making it public. And there's another paragraph down. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and read back through the paragraph. To become an expert. And there it is. There's a paragraph marker. Here we go. To become an expert, we need the freedom to make or to make our own decisions and all the necessary mistakes that help us learn. Like bicycling, it can only be done by doing. Most study guides and academic writing teachers are trying very hard to spare you from that experience by telling you what, when, and how to write instead. But they are keeping you from learning the very thing academia and writing is all about, gaining insight and making it public. Okay? And this, by the way, is the reason why you should never ask. So new paragraph. And this is the reason why, and this, by the way, is the reason why you should never ask. And this, by the way, is the reason you should never ask the teachers of paramedics, the teachers of paramedics. I believe para is the disjointed, PR, and then medic. So if we look up medic, medical, so med, paramed. And so let me look up para. Simply a disjointed P. So you see that we have the P value or the P stroke. If it sits in front, then that gives us the para. Paramedics. So that's paramedics. And let me go ahead and add that to the dictionary. You should never ask the teachers of paramedics for help if you find yourself for help. For help. If you find yourself in the admittedly unlikely situation, and then admittedly, admittedly. See what the value is. There's admitted, so it's actually just admitted. Okay? Makes sense. And then we just add an E on the end for admittedly. In the admittedly unlikely situation, so we go unlikely. Let's see here what unlikely is. Unlikely, so we just have to add the line on the end. Situation. Situation, I believe. Almost. Straighten it up. The unlikely situation, where you can choose the person who should perform CPR on you. Where you can choose the person who should perform CPR on you, or you can choose the person. I believe person is just PRS. The person who should. Let's check person. Ah, the S goes under, goes in the opposite direction. The person who should, and then perform C. Try this here, so we're going to go C, P, R on you. And that is the paragraph, so let's go ahead and go back up here, read through quickly. And this, by the way, is the reason you should never ask the teachers of paramedics for for help if you find yourself in the admittedly unlikely situation where you can choose the person who should perform CPR on you. Let me go ahead and check back here in the dictionary, and this is, we're looking for perform. Yes, that's perform. All right. That was it. Good. Let's go ahead and clear this out. Check over here. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Okay. Okay. Moving on. In an experiment, beginner and expert paramedics, so in an experiment, so that would be let's look up experiment. There's experiment. In an experiment, beginner and expert paramedics, beginner and expert paramedics and their teachers were shown scenes of CPR performed by either experienced performed by either experienced, so this is the experienced paramedics, or those who had just finished their training. Or those who had just finished their training. The quote here is from Fliebjerg. Fliebjerg. Boy, how do you say his name? Let's look that up. I remember we had this issue with, it was, hold on, go over here. Let me start later. It was, Xingxintmihai. So, let's go ahead and go over here to Fliebjerg. Flyvb Jörg. Fliebjerg. And let's look him up. So he is a Danish geographer. He's the one who wrote How Big Things Get Done. That's fascinating. That book looks good. University of Oxford Side Business School. Let's look up how to say his name. So let's go over to videos and let's find, here's a 2025 podcast. Let's go ahead and listen. See how to say his name.
Welcome to Human Risk, a podcast dedicated to the understanding of human behavior as a risk. Here's your host, Christian Hunt.
Hello and welcome back to the Human Risk podcast. On this episode, I'm looking at mega projects. That's a term.
There we go. So we're looking
such as the construction of an airport terminal, digging a railway tunnel, or maybe the merger of two companies.
Correct.
You don't have to look too far in the news to see stories of where a mega project has had a cost or timing overrun.
Let's keep on going.
BER Airport that opened 9 years later than planned with costs of more than 4 times the original estimate is a really good example. And chances are,
keep on going.
To this, there'll be a mega project somewhere nearby that's gone wrong on some level.
Come on,
Why
we
that
want
happens,
to say his name.
And what we can do to prevent it is the subject of this episode.
Yes.
I'm fascinated by this because, as you'll hear, what applies to mega projects also applies to things
keep
we
on
take
going.
on as individuals, whether that's building a house extension, planning a wedding, or maybe a round-the-world motorbike trip. Anything that by normal standards
Fliebjerg. How do you say his name?
Large can pose problems.
Come on.
My guest is Professor Bent Fliebjerg, who holds
Fliebjerg.
titles.
There. All that just to learn how to say his name. Fliebjerg. This podcast looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and save this one over here. Fliebjerg. Professor Fliebjerg. So, where is, I need podcasts. This one would be, let's save this under learning science if I have it. Do I have learning science? Fliebjerg. Compositions, learning, steam building, file organization, way too many playlists. Let's see. I'm not seeing. I mean, podcasts is probably the best place to put it. That way, I have it stored somewhere. Podcasts, long form content. That's as good as any. So it is Fliebjerg. That is a good Fliebjerg. So if you were to say that, that'd be Fliebjerg. So Fleevber would be his name. F-L-B. F-L-B-E. Fleevber. Fleevber. Don't you just love English where you can do that? I'll go ahead and see if I can find his book. Fleeve. The How Big Things. Looks like his book, How Big Things Get Done, is the key here. I don't know if we have that one or not, but I'll add it to my dictionary, to my listing. Bent Fleevbeer that determine the fate, the surprising factors that determine the fate of every project. Let's go ahead and save it. It's a good price. Hardcover. Might as well. When was it written? When was this book written? And let me check and see that this is the book. This was Fleevbeer 2001. So let's see, Fleevbeer, and that is number 17, reference 17. Let's go in the bibliography and check it out. So we're looking for Fleevbeer. CD, and then D-F, Fleevbeer. Fischbach, Fleevbeer. Make social science matter. Why social inquiry fails and how it can succeed again. Oh, interesting. So that was in 2001. So he's been writing ever since 2001. That's pretty neat. Because How Big Things Get Done, the surprising factor that determines the fate of every big project. I'm pretty sure I don't have that book in my library, and I'm curious when it was published. But for now, let me go ahead and add it to cart. Add to cart. Let's go ahead and get it. All right. Very good. Now, when was that book written? How Big Things Get Done. It was written. Thank you. Yes, I know I ordered the book. When was it written? It was published, 2023, so 3 years ago. Okay. That looks pretty interesting. Make Social Science. So his other book, his earlier book, Make Social Science Matter, Why Social Inquiry Fails and How It Can Succeed Again. Very nice, very nice. And he's Danish, it says? Danish economic geographer. Fascinating. Received his PhD in urban geography. Urban geography? Study of cities and urban processes. Well, that's very interesting. His book looks quite fascinating. Okay, let's get back to work. Oh, skip. Back we go. Check his book looks quite fascinating. Okay, let's get. So, let's just proceed. Where was I? Fleevberg. Now I know how to say his name. Fleevberg. So let's go ahead and grab that. So where is the... Fleevberg. F-L... Fleevberg. F-L... Veeb. Fleevberg. 2001. 2001. Okay. And then there's the footnote under here. Go, boom, boom, boom. Fliebe describes this experiment. Describes, so let's go is that describe? Let's see what describe it is. There we go. Describe. Fliebe describes this experiment. So exper. I haven't done experiment enough. Experiment. No. How do you experiment? There we go. Describes this experiment. So it's experim. Experim. Describes this experiment. And examples, not only with references, and example, this experiment, and example, not only with references, not only with references to the book of Dreyfus and Dreyfus, to the book of Dreyfus and Dreyfus, but also with reference to extensive talks with them. But also with reference to extensive talks with them. Extensive. TV is what I would think, so is this extensive? Let's see if that's extensive. X10. Yes, so it's X10 and then V ending. So EXTN, EXTN, V, like that. There's extensive. Talks with them. With them. I therefore stick with the description in Fliebe 2001. I therefore stick to the stick with the, and then description in Fliebe 2001. In Fliebe 2001. And that's the square bracket to show that that's the end of the response. So let's go ahead and go back up. Find that section here. Where was that? CPR. in an experiment. So where's that? There we go. In an experiment. CPR. And this, by the way, we've already done that one. This is in an experiment is what we're looking for. In an experiment. That's CPR. In an experiment. Experim. There we go. And go ahead and drop a paragraph marker here. Boom. And let me begin. In an experiment, beginner and expert paramedics and their teachers were shown scenes of CPR performed by either experienced paramedics or those who had just finished their training. This was Fliebe 2001, and then the note here, it says Fliebe describes description. I just did descript. I'll probably need to fix description. Fliebe describes this experiment and example not only with reference to the book of Dreyfus and Dreyfus. Go do our little markers here to show that those are proper nouns of Dreyfus and Dreyfus, but also with reference to extensive talks with them. I therefore stick with the, now this is description, so I need to throw a P in there as well. So we're going to go description in, so description in Fliebe 2001. Okay, going on. Now we're going to go to 63. It's nice, I'm far enough along in the book that it's staying open on its own. As you might expect, the experienced paramedics were able to spot their kind correctly in almost all cases. As you might expect, the experienced paramedics, let's go ahead and try this again. As you might expect, now expect is going to be expect. Let's check and see if that's correct. Oh, it's just EXP. That's expect. As you might expect, comma, the experienced paramedics were able to spot their kind, were able to spot their kind correctly. K-R-E, I believe. Correct. Spot their kind correctly in almost all cases. In almost all cases. It was about 90%, roughly 90%. So that's a tilde. And for a tilde, we'll do a little mark underneath, because otherwise it looks like it could be misconstrued. So there's our tilde, 90%. About 90%. And that's a / coming up from the base of writing. So we could do it this way. Okay. While the beginners were more or less just guessing. Were more or less. More or less is a term, I think, right? More or less? Or more or less just guessing. And guess is guessing. 50%. And that was approximately 50%. Okay. So far, so good. So far, so good. But when the teachers watched the videos, but when the teachers watched the videos, but when the teachers watched, is that watched? Watched? Yes. But when the teachers watched the videos, and the videos is going to be video, they systematically mistook the beginners. They, in our system, is here. I think, isn't this systematically? Yes, and so systematically would be then just a circle inside there. So I need to add that to the dictionary. So we're going to go systematically. Wow, gotta love that. You can throw systematically just into that format. They systematically mistook the beginners for the experts. The beginners for the experts, and the experts for the beginners, and the experts for the beginners. They were wrong in most of the cases. They were wrong in most of the cases. And most of the cases is underlined, and only right in about a third of all the cases. Wow. And only right in about a third of the cases. in about a third of all the cases. A third of all the cases of all the cases. Close parenthesis and then close sentence. Now let's go back, find the beginning of this section, which is here, and it is, oh, did I already read this? I think Dreyfus and Dreyfus. Yeah, so we need to start from as you might expect, which was here. It was after the quote. There it is. Okay, and let me proceed. Let me grab the highlighter. As you might expect, the expert paramedics were able to spot their kind correctly in almost all cases. That was about 90%, while the beginners were more or less just guessing, about 50%. Also, I need to fix that. The S needs to be a little bit, there we go. So far, so good. But when the teachers watched the videos, they systematically, yes, so this needs to be a they systematically mistook the beginners for the experts, and the experts for the beginners, they were wrong in almost all the cases and only right in about a third of all the cases. That is crazy. Wow. All right, now here's the next paragraph. Hubert and Stuart Dreyfus, Hubert, so that is Hubert and Stuart, so it's S-T, how would we do that? Because the R has to be flipped around. Is it on the back side? Or still on the front, so it'd be Stuart. Let's see what happens. We go, because start would be S-T-A-R-T, but if we go Stuart, that'd be Stuart. There we go. There's Stuart. Like that. Stuart. You just flip it on the back side. Hubert and Stuart Dreyfus. Hubert and Stuart Dreyfus, researchers on expertise, researchers on expertise, like that, expertise on how are we going to do that? And then T's is going to curve out more. Expertise. Yeah. Let's look up expertise. It might be in the dictionary. Go ahead and reload the page. Expertise. Check over here. Yep, that's actually one that I added. That's right, that I always make the T a little too long. No bueno. Like that. Expertise. Have a simple explanation. Have a simple, and then explanation. Explanation itself is pretty simple, isn't it? Explanation. Yes. Explanation. Teachers tend to mistake the ability to follow. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wow, this is tough. Teachers tend to mistake the ability. Tend to mistake the ability to follow. Whoa. To follow their rules with the ability to make the right choices. Wow. With the ability to make the right choices in real situations, to make the right choices. Choice. In the choices in real situations. In real situations. Let's see if this is situations. That's right. Situations. Situations. Unlike the expert paramedics, so sentence, and then it's unlike, so this is going to be unlike the expert paramedics. Paramedics, they did not look at the unique circumstances, comma. They did not look at the unique. So this is unique. That should be unique right there. Yep, that's unique. Like the expert paramedics, they did not look at the unique circumstances. Now, circumstances is going to be S or C, and I think it curves in for circum, or no, I take that back. I think it curves away for S, circum, and then stances is going to be S T N stan. Says stan. Ooh, stenses. Might just be stenses. STNSS. Like so. Let's take a look. Okay, so it curves away from the line of writing for circum. Circumstances. Unique circumstances, and check if the paramedics in the video did the best thing. And check if the paramedics in the let's see here, this one would be video. In the video. Yeah. Check if the circumstances in the videos did the best. Did the best thing possible. In each individual situation. In each individual. That's going to be individual. Let's see. That's probably a little too, the spacing's off, but individual. So it's indiv. So we'll clean this up here. Individual. Situation. Instead, they focused on the question. So instead, they focused on the question. They focused on the question of whether this is the weather, right? Of whether the people in the videos acted according to the rules they taught. In the videos, acted according to the rules they taught. End of paragraph. So we'll go ahead and go back and check that. Here it is. So that is Hubert. Oh, and I forgot the H. Hubert and Stuart Dreyfus. Researchers on expertise have a simple explanation. Teachers tend. Oh, and we need a D at the end. That's right. Tend. So we'll put that there. There we go. Tend to mistake the ability to follow their rules with the ability to make the right choices make right choices in real situations. Unlike the expert paramedics, they don't look at the unique circumstances and check if the, let me see if check might be a shorter version. Let me see. Nope, it's not. Very good. And check if the paramedics in the videos did the best thing possible in each individual situation. Instead, they focused, so we need to make that past tense. They focused on the question of whether, let me confirm that that is whether. Yes, on whether the people in the videos acted according to the rules they taught. Excellent. Because trainees lack the experience to judge a situation correctly and confidently, so here we go. Because trainees lack the experience to judge a situation correctly, lack the experience to judge a situation correctly and confidently. Confidence, so that's confident. Is that confident? That does not look right. Ah, it's just confident. And confidence. And confidently. Yep. They need to stick to the rules they were taught. They need to stick to the rules they were taught, much to the delight of their teachers. Oh boy. Much to the delight of their Let's add another line below. Oh, did it add a line? Nope, not yet. There we go, page 4. How to take smart notes. 9, still in 9.4. 9.4 page. This is page number 4. Okay, go back up here. To the delight of their teachers. According to the Dreyfuses, according to the Dreyfuses, the correct application of teachable rules, the correct application of teachable rules, and put teachable up here. So pretty sure that's teach, and then that's a bowl. Rules enables you to become a competent performer. Enables you. This is enables you to become a competent. So competent. See what competent is. Competent. And that's correct. Competent. A competent performer, quote, performer, unquote, which corresponds to number 3 on their 5-grade expert scale. There we go. Which corresponds, which, and then corresponds is going to be Cora, S-P-N-D, S, corresponds. Let's see if that is correct. Nope, it's just chorus. Nice. Which corresponds to 3 on their 5-grade expert scale, to 3 on their 5-grade expert scale. Doesn't this flip around? No, it does not flip around. It goes like that. See if that's correct. Let's see what scale is. Okay, well, I guess I added it, but yeah, it's the Eye of Horus. All right, but it won't make you a master, level 4, and certainly won't turn you into an expert, level 5. Okay. But it won't make you a, quote, master. But it will not. So won't. I don't know if won't is in there. That's want, as in like want. Wanton. But this is won't, so this is will not. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the contraction altogether, and we just go straight to the will not. Like that. Yep. Won't, so that's will not. Make you a master. Make you a master. Level 4. And level... no, master is quote. This has the quote. That's a level 4. And certainly won't turn you into an expert. And certainly won't turn you into an expert, which is level 5. Okay. End of paragraph. So let's go ahead and try that again. Because trainees, go back here to because trainees, looking for the paragraph marker. There it is. And here we go. Grab our highlighter. Because trainees like the experts, no, because trainees lack the experience to judge a situation correctly and competently, they need to stick to the rules they were taught, much to the delight of their teachers. According to the Dreyfuses, the correct approach of teachable rules. Yes, teachable. I need to add that to the dictionary. I doubt it's in there. I was wrong. It's in there. It's in there. Teachable rules in enables you to become a competent performer, which corresponds, is that corresponds? Which corresponds, yep, which corresponds to 3 on their side, on their 5. I should be clear. If that's the 5, then we need to make this a little bit better. on a 5 grade expert scale. But it will not make you a master level 4, and certainly won't turn you. Yeah, I forgot the you. Won't turn you into an expert, which is level 5. Okay? Going on, experts, on the other hand, have internalized the necessary knowledge. Experts, on the other hand, here we go. Experts, on the other hand, have internalized the necessary knowledge. Have, and then internalized. Internalized. I'm going to guess that would be, the key there is internalized. So maybe it's this. I'm going to say it's so we're going to go internalized. I think it's that. Well, let's go ahead and check. Internal. Okay. So I was wrong. They are wanting the internal. Okay. So it's more about the actual sound of the word, not the origin, which makes sense. I can understand that. So then internalize would then be internalized, like that. So we go in, internalized. There we go. Let me add that. Okay. Internalized the necessary knowledge. The necessary knowledge. So they don't have to actively remember rules. So they don't actively have to remember. Let's see. Well, let's see actively first. Ah, that's right. Active is just AKV. And then actively. So that's AKV. And then actively. Actively, they don't actively have to remember. Let's see what remember is. Yep. Good. There we go. Let's fix this. Good. Good. Nothing. Clear this out. Okay. Actively remember. Good. You don't have to actively remember rules or think consciously. Remember rules or think consciously. So consciously. Let's see if that's correct. SCIOUS. Consciously. That's good. We do have to do the little loop though. Okay. So try that again. We go up and then down. Consciously. They don't have to remember rules or think consciously about their choices. About their and then choice. Their choices. Okay. Okay, curves a little bit more underneath the line. Choices. They have acquired enough experience in various situations. They have acquired enough experience in various is it varse? In various situations. To be able to rely on their intuition. To be able to rely on their, quote, intuition. Intuition is going to be intuition, so that's intuition. See if that's right. Intuition. Yes, curved a little bit more to the left, but yep. Oh yeah, that's right. It curves. The E stays connected to the NT stroke, and then it comes down. Okay. Intuition. There we go. They can rely on their intuition. Oh, and that's not a quote. That's an italicized character. There we go. To know what to do in which kind of situation. To know what to do in which kind of situation. In which kind of situation. Their decisions in complex situations. Their decisions in complex, right? Nope, it needs to be K-P-L-E, K-P-L-E-X. I'll get it right one day. In complex situations. Is that, yep, situations again. Try it again. Situations are explicitly not made. So here we go. Are explicit. Explicit. So that one would be EX PL set. I don't think that's explicit. That wouldn't make sense in Gregg, but we'll check it. Explicit. There we go. Hey, okay. All right. Small win. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Boom. Okay. Are explicitly, so we just add an E to that, are explicitly not made by long, rational, analytical considerations. Are explicitly not made by long, rational / analytical, rational. So rational is ra, and then ration. I think it's rational, right? So we go rational / analytical. So that is isn't analytical, is that one? Let's check this out. Rational, correct. Analytical. It requires the circle, not the K. That would be analytic. So analytical, it uses the circle vowel. Okay? Analytical. Considerations. Consids, I believe. Considtions. Let's see if that's considerations. Oh, even better. It's just K. It's just KS. Consideration. Okay. Considerations and considerations. We'll just add two of them. Considerations, comma, but rather come from the gut. But rather come from the gut. But rather come from the gut. Okay. Gut. That might just be G-U-T, but I think I'll do gut. Let me check. I think I'm just going to do GT for gut. But stuck. Get. What is get? That's get. So yeah, gut makes sense, but come from the gut. All right, and that was Konfitur. Gigerenser. So that's Gige, Gigerenser. 2008A and 2008B. 2008A, 2008B. There we go. 2008A, 2008B. End of paragraph. Let's go ahead and check back on that. Let's go back to the paragraph experts on the other hand. So let's go, where is that one? We need our paragraph marker. Paragraph marker. Searching. Level 5 right here, and I forgot the paragraph marker. So let's go ahead and add that. Here we go. Experts on the other hand have internalized the necessary knowledge. So, try it again. Oh, clean this up. There we go. So they don't have enough, they have acquired enough experience. Experts, on the other hand, have internalized the necessary knowledge, so they don't actively, they don't have to actively so they don't have to. I forgot have to. We'll squeeze it in there. So they don't have to. Put the don't here. Don't have to actively actively remember, there we go, just gotten the order out of line, remember rules or think, they don't have to actively remember rules or think consciously about their choices. They have acquired enough experience in various situations to be able to rely on their intuition to know what to do in which kind of situation. Their decisions in complex situations are explicitly not made by long rational / analytical considerations, but rather come from the gut. And that one was Gigerenser. Gigerenza, 2008A, 2008B. Beautiful. And now let's continue. That's going well. This is going well. I think we'll end up being able to get 2 pages in, which is beautiful. Is it 3 pages, actually? 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. All right, so next one. Here, gut feeling is not a mysterious force, but an incorporated history of experience. Okay. New paragraph marker. Here. Okay, let's go grab this. Go down the page. Here, gut feeling is not a mysterious force, is not mysterious. So this is mysterious. That's a little too complex. Gregg is not that complex. Mysterious. So we have to do mysterious, like so. Mysterious. There we go. It's not a mysterious force. False. But an incorporated history of experience, comma. So, comma, but an incorporated. Core, so we go incorporated. I think that is something similar to what Gregg would have in incorporate. That is correct. So then incorporated is just the D added, N-K-R-E-P. And then the disjointed D for incorporated. Not quite as extreme of a curve up, down, and then over. Incorporated history of experience. So, story, like so. You go. History. Okay. Incorporated history of experience. It is the, now sedimentation, so that's going to be sedimentation. Here we go. Sedimentation. Try that. Even easier. Now this one is broken, so it's sedimentation. So you do need to have, you can't do a stroked DM. So we go sedimentation. Excellent. It is the sedimentation of deeply learned practice. It is the sedimentation of deeply learned practice through numerous feedback loops. Through numerous through numerous feedback loops. Feedback loops. Let's see if that is correct. I know I've done loops many, many times, but check, and that, yep, that's good. That's good. Feedback loops on success or failure. On, and then success. So this is success. Let's see if that is some variant. Maybe straighten it out just a hair. Like that. Let's check it. Ah, just an S-U-K. Or, yeah, S-U-K. Beautiful. Success or failure. All right. And there is a quote there, or a footnote. Go ahead and add that. That's our square bracket. Put it over here. New page, right down here. This is even true for highly specialized surgeons. This is even true. Oh, and true is just TR. True for highly specialized is going to be SPE. Is that, I know we've done specialized before, so let's check it again. And that's one that there's specialization, so special eyes. If you do specialize, oh yeah, there it is, I just saw it now. Specialization. Ooh, specialization. And then specialized is that one's pretty easy. That's just the plural ending. So we grab that, put this here. Specialized. Okay. Surgeons. And surgeon is surgeon. See if that's surgeons. Just surgeon. S-E. S-E. Surgeons. Okay. And that was Gawande. That would be Gavant. Gavant 2002. So we're going to go Gavant 2002. Okay. And that was the end of the footnote. Now we go back on success or failure. That was a period. Even a rational and analytical endeavor, even a rational and an analytical endeavor, endev. Oh, endeavor. Yes, endeavor. Got it. Okay, there's my pointer. Endeavor. There we go. Endeavor. Straighten it out just a little bit more. Like science does not function, so endeavor like science does not function. Does not, and then this is funk, does not function. I think that's function. Nope. Oh, we get to use the NK. Does not function without expertise, intuition, and experience. Without expertise, so remember we need to practice making the T just a little bit smaller. There's expertise. What else? Expertise, intuition, and remember this one was intuition, and experience, hyphen. Okay. So let's check. Expertise I know is correct. Intuition is one that I need to check. Intuition. And that is, yes, the E is on the NT stroke, not on the downward stroke. So we go intuition. There we go. Intuition. And experience. Which is one of the most interesting outcomes. Which is one of the most interesting outcomes of the empirical research on natural scientists. And then empirical. Empirical is going to be empirical. Let's see if that is empirical. Almost. Oh, undo. That this is empirical. Okay. Empirical research on natural scientists in their laboratories. On natural, we need a little bit more room. On natural, see if that's correct. Yep. On natural scientists in their laboratories. And scientist is scientist. Ah, yes, it goes the NT, the NT. So we go like so. Up, over, out. Yes, very nice. Scientist. Scientist, okay? Natural scientists in their laboratories. Laboratories. Scientist, and this is a case where we need to do the disjointed SS, scientist. Natural scientists in their laboratories. In their laboratories is going to be laboratories. Laboratory. Labora. There it is. So we need laboratory. Oh, it's the full thing. It's the full thing. Laboratory. Laboratories. And that one, the reference there is from Reinberger, 1997. So we're going to go Reinberger. Oh, no, that would be bigger. Reinberger. We need to do Reinberger. R I Reinberger. And that one was 1997. 1990 and then 7. Check. All right. And that's the end of this paragraph. So now let's go ahead and go back and read through it. Here, gut feeling is not a mysterious force. Let's go back to the beginning of that paragraph marker, which is here. And we go ahead and start. So here, gut feeling is not a mysterious force, but incorporated, yes, but an incorporated history of experience. It is the sedimentation of what is that? That is deeply. Yes, deeply. Of deeply learned practice through numerous feedback loops on success or failure. And the note there was, it is even, or this is even true for highly specialized surgeons. And that one was Gavant. Oh, we need to put an A at the base, otherwise I won't know. It looks like Gavant. So we go Gavant. There we go, because the emphasis is on the end of the name. Gavant. Okay. Save it. And go back to the highlighter. Gavant 2002. Even a rational and analytical endeavor like science does not function without expertise, intuition, and experience, which is one of the most interesting, drop up a little bit of a bigger dot, which is one of the most interesting outcomes. Let me see if outcome is a specialized term first. Nope. Nothing special there. Outcomes of the empirical research on natural scientists in their laboratories, and that one was Reinberger, 1997. Beautiful. Chess players, for example, seem to think less than beginners. Now that's fascinating. Chess players tend to think less than. Yeah. Ooh, ouch. Yeah. Just checking the volume here. Check. All right. Going back over to the page. Next paragraph. And I have about 5 minutes left, so we'll just get a little bit in here. Actually, in the last 5 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close down Zernal before I start another paragraph. And I'm going to go ahead and open up GIMP and Inkscape and go ahead and start inputting these forms into the dictionary. Let's close Zernal, and we're going to go over here to making Gregg strokes. Make sure I'm going to minimize this page right here. I'm going to open GIMP. I'm going to open Inkscape. Have them ready to go. Let's open up words.xcf on GIMP and go over to Inkscape. And this one's ready to go. Let me go ahead and make sure that I have the address pulled up or the directory lineup so that I can streamline my process. Ready to go. Okay. Boom. Now, I'm going to go over to GIMP and we're going to start. So perfectionist. Perfectionist is the first term. Go ahead and put these two together. And perfection. So for this, I need to make sure I have it pulled up here for you guys to see. So we need Inkscape, open selector, grab that value, Inkscape, hit OK, and then GIMP needs to be set up as well. Here's GIMP, share that page, we're ready to go there. And then finally Gregg needs to be opened, application window, and we're going to do, do I not have, I thought I had word lookup. I do. There it is, it was at the bottom. All right. Sweet. Now let's go ahead and get started. Perfectionist. Okay, so for that, let's go over to the dictionary and we have to do perfection. Okay, and then perfectionist. And ist is just going to add the ist ending to that. So we'll do perfectionist. Let's try it again. So we're going to go yeah. Perfection and then ist, like so. Try it again. Perfectionist. Grab the value, cut the value, paste the value. You know, pasty, huh? Oh, that's why. Go ahead and save this value. We apply the change. And this one is going to be, we're going to save the exported value only. And this is perfectionist.svg. And not, is that, that's perfectionist. Wait. Oh, that is correct. Perfection. Ist. It's an isty. Perfectionist. Done. Close document. Next one. Specifically is the next term, so we're going to look up specific. So Control A, and in the dictionary, we have to look up specific. And then Lee. So we go specific. Yes. Specific. Here we go. Pencil. We go specific. Oh, not quite. Specific. Again. Specific. That is specifically. Okay. Grab the value, cut, paste over an Inkscape, and then that's it for right now. So there's specific. We apply the change. We then export the change as specifically. Specifically.svg. And we're good. Close that value down. Close without saving. And that's it for right now. So I'm going to take a break now. We went for about 3 hours. In fact, we went for 3 hours exactly. So hope everyone's having a good afternoon. And I will be back shortly to begin the next set of streaming, just showing the practicing process. Taking Sonke Ahrens at his word, and it says that gut feeling is not a mysterious force, but an incorporated history of experience. It is the sedimentation of deeply learned practice through numerous feedback loops on success or failure. So this right here, this process of making these videos, of streaming the learning process, is such a feedback loop. So thank you very much for joining, and I hope you are having a wonderful day. Bye-bye.